All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for jumping on here with us today. It is another great day, another great webinar that Vital Storm, myself, and Josh can bring to you guys. We appreciate you jumping on with us here this morning. Today, what we'll really focus on is we're kind of shifting gears from what we've done previously this year so far. Now we're kind of shifting gears to more of how to better your business and future potential business by something maybe a lot of people don't think about, or maybe something that people think about too much and just need a solution on how to solve that problem. And so what we're talking about today is we're talking about taking the frustration out of review management. So we know it's all that we know it can be maybe an overwhelming or daunting task when you get that 1-star review and you don't know how to respond. You either are going to go option one and not respond, option two, you're just going to blow it up and you're going to make yourself look terrible, or option three, you're going to do it the right way. And we're here to talk about all three of those today and hopefully help you guys pick option three every single time. Josh, kind of one of the reasons why we even are doing this webinar over this topic is it's because it's never those positive reviews, that keep yourself and other business owners up at night. It's always those outrageous reviews, that those 1 stars, they frustrate you. They pop up out of nowhere. It seems like, you never feel like you did anything wrong, and then it just shows up. So what we want to do is we want to take positive and negative reviews and we want to turn those into winning situations for not only ourselves, but for you guys, your friends. Tell everybody about this webinar, share the recording with them. We feel like there's some great content here that can help a lot of people. So what we'll cover today, before we jump in, Josh, I'll turn things over to you. But we're really here to learn about how to address reviews the way experts do, allowing everybody on this webinar and that sees this video to shine on all platforms where reviews can be shared. So Josh, I'll turn things over to you and then we'll jump in here this morning.
Thanks, Austin. By the way, Austin is one of our key players at Vital Storm. We call him the change manager because what he gets to do every day is talk to some of our soon-to-be partners and helping them discover the change they need in their business. I'm one of the co-founders here at Vital Storm, and I couldn't be more excited to be on this webinar with you guys. It's a little bit different than our previous webinars where, like Austin said, we may have been talking about some tactics or marketing channels you should be a part of as a local service company. But today we're addressing something, like Austin said, that can keep you awake at night. And so that is review management. And when we say that, sometimes it's like nails on a chalkboard for some people. They don't like the words. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to deal with it. And, quite honestly, if you walked into someone's office today and said, "Hey, Susan, I need you to take our review management for our company," they're going to look at you and say, "What did I do wrong? Why do you hate me? Don't make me do this. Please don't make me do this." And it's because no one wants to go see those negative reviews and no one wants to have to address those negative reviews. Yeah. So here's what we want to talk about today. We want to make every review, whether it's positive or negative, a good thing for your company. And yes, I said a good thing. It can be a good thing. Even negative reviews can be a good thing. I'm sure who we have on here, Alex or Emily's Plumbing or Heather's HVAC. I'm not sure what you guys are actually, what you actually do. I can only see your first names, but you don't ever think about you don't set out today thinking I'm going to get a review. You hope to get those good reviews, but once you go in there and you start looking through those reviews, you see the bad ones and they irritate you and they frustrate you. Austin, we first started this webinar by calling it "How to Respond to Reviews," and that name was lame. And we did to change it at the last minute to taking the frustration out of review management, because that's exactly what this is about today. So we want to talk about making all the, whether it's positive or negative, let's make it a good thing. Second, we want to talk about killing it with reasonableness, right? And then third, we want to talk about the perfect formula to turn any situation around. So you're going to want to take notes. Also, I'm going to kick it back to you so that we can get this thing started. And I'm gonna remind everyone again, you're gonna want to take notes. There will be a recording that we'll share with this, but you don't want to miss even the slightest bit of today's webinar, because we're taking the frustration out of review management.
Yep, absolutely. And the first thing that we'll cover really before we even jump into the topics we prepared today was, we came up with 3 problems and then also 3 opportunities that can come from, just review management in general. And so all 6 of these next kind of subtopics that we're about to share, the problems and opportunities you can find mixed into the topics that we'll talk about today. So the first problem that could arise from review management, and I think this is my favorite slide, so I wish we could just stay here all day. But you're unsure how to address negative reviews. I think that's probably the biggest concern we all have in the pit of our stomach when we get that bad reviews.
Right.
Is we just don't know how to address it. And so we'll walk through that and talk about how to not feel like this guy right here when that negative review comes in. Problem 2 is you stress over what people have said about your business. And so, and I think that's just human nature. Somebody says something bad about something you've created.
Yeah.
Your first instinct is defense. You want to defend your baby. You never call someone's baby ugly. That's and so you want to take everything you've got to defend it, but sometimes it's not the right or best approach. And then in the last problem, and I think this is where everything tends to go wrong, is you fuel the fire when you actually decide to respond. And so this is where you use that defense. You use instead of disarming feelings, you arm feelings and you make it even worse. And so these are some problems that we'll talk about today to help hopefully alleviate these problems and not have to navigate through these problems. And hopefully you can navigate through these 3 opportunities. And that's
you want to defend
reviews.
your honor, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You don't want people saying that stuff about you. You got to defend your team, defend your company, defend your honor.
No, that's exactly right.
But sometimes it just fuels the fire.
Yeah, no, and I think that's why, addressing it in a way where you win helps defend your team in a nice manner. You can still do all of those things. And we're not saying, don't defend your company or don't defend your team, but do it in a way where you win.
That's right.
And so you're setting yourself up for success. You're showing customers that you're human. You guys make mistakes. You're real people. But you still care about your customers and their livelihood and maybe the potential or the possible mistake that you did make. And then the last step here is now you have opportunity to kill it with reasonableness. And we'll go into what this means as we talk through these next few topics today. But again, these 3 problems, these 3 opportunities that arise from review management, hopefully today you guys are equipped to be able to solve these problems and have these opportunities flourish for you guys. So, Josh, any comments on any of those problems or opportunities before we jump in the first topic here?
Heck no, let's jump in, man.
All right, let's do it. So the first topic that we're going to talk about today is really understanding the review game, and because I figured we should start here, because if you don't understand the review game, then it's hard to understand the problems and the opportunities and really winning in these opportunities. So, Josh, I'll kick this one to you. You're the business owner here. Tell us a little bit about why are reviews so important to the business, how you respond really does matter, how you respond, kind of fill us in on a little bit of the backstory of what reviews mean to you.
Absolutely. So one of the reasons reviews are important is they provide social proof. Think about this. You pull up to the bank, you need to go through the drive-through. There's always a really long line and maybe a shorter line and maybe even an empty line. Why does that one line keep getting longer? Don't people know that they could just pull into the short line? Well, sometimes people just follow the crowd. They want the social proof. They know that this line must be open because that's where all the people are lined up. And so if I pull over to the empty line, I might be embarrassed that it's closed, or I might be frustrated and have to turn around and go get back in line. And so you see that in department stores when you're next time you go to the department store, which I know is a little different these days, but next time you're at the department store and you go wait in line, look around. There's probably an open cash register on the other side, but people are just lining up where they go. Not just in reality, in the physical world, but online. People look for reviews. They ask for social. They go on to Facebook and they say, who do I know that knows a good plumber?
Yeah.
Or better, and the next best thing to that is they just go looking themselves and they look for the reviews. They look for the star ratings. They read through some of those reviews. And so reviews are important because of the social proof. So we need that. for our businesses. So we can't neglect it, because if we do neglect it, there'll be some good reviews in there, but there'll also be some bad ones. And we're talking today about review management. You've got to manage reviews. Another thing that makes reviews so important is the visibility in SEO. And so this is more of a technical side of the why you need reviews and why they're so important, because you want your GMB listing, you want your other map listings, you want those to show up when people are searching for an electrician near me or a plumber near me. And they won't show up if there's not enough reviews, or better yet, others will show up in front of you if they have more reviews and a higher star rating. So when it comes to those map listings, really the only difference, there's really no difference between what I can fill out for my company and what my competitors can fill out for theirs, because we have all the same fields that we fill out. What makes us different is the number of reviews and the star rating. And so we need to be managing those reviews from day one. You know, there's this old ancient Chinese proverb, Austin, that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. What's the next best time to plant a tree?
Right now.
Right now. So if you should have been doing review management the day you opened your business, but if you haven't been doing it, start now. This is the next best time. Also, a reason reviews are important is trustworthiness. They see who trusts you, but never fear. Everyone's gonna have some negative reviews in there. We're gonna talk today about how you can leverage those negative reviews to continue to build trust in your service. We'll even have some examples at the end of this webinar, so stick around to the end. You don't want to miss any piece of this. Okay, the final reason I want to list here today for why reviews are important is they provide an open line of communication to your customers. Imagine this: you have an unhappy customer, they go out into their life and they tell everyone they know not to use service. What kind of damage would be? Could it take 5 customers away in the future? Could it take away 10 customers away? Who knows? But when they leave that review and you don't address it, you know, Austin, I'm not kidding you. Today, I got a message from Google My Business because I left a review 2 years ago for a smoothie shop, and it told me by now 1,000 other people have seen the one review I left. So thousands of people then be losing trust in you because you're not managing those, or those thousands of people can see how you handle that situation, and many of them still continue to trust you. And better yet, how about that first person that left you that bad review? What if you could turn it around and make them a customer for life, where now they become an advocate? That is possible through proper review management. If we didn't have review channels, then we wouldn't even know those people exist, and we couldn't go out there and fix it and make it right when we do make a mistake, or help them understand what went wrong when they think we made a mistake, but we actually didn't. So those are the reasons: social proof, visibility through SEO, trustworthiness, and then that open line of communication to your customers.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I think that, you know, helps go into the next, you know, bullet here is how you respond really matters. And it doesn't, sure, it matters to the reviewer, the person who left the review. They want to see that you're responding in a timely, kind manner. But more importantly, I think it matters more to the people that read that in the future. Just like you were saying, that thousands and thousands of people could be affected by this review and ultimately how you respond.
That's right. It matters to that person that you respond to. But like you said, Austin, it matters to all those, could be thousands, that read that review in the future. This is a way to even future-proof your business here. We praise those businesses that have been in business, local community business for 20, 30, 50 years. Well, this is the new way of providing that social proof. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there was no review engine. But now, if you want to be in business for the next 30 years, you're going to have 30 years of reviews for people in 30 years to go back and look at. And so we got to start that review management today. It matters.
Absolutely. And then the last couple of bullets here on understanding the review game is like we've said a couple of times already. You know, you never want to have any defense when you're responding to any review. And then also throw in some pattern interrupters in your response. And so, Josh, kind of why is it important to never use defense and then also use those pattern interrupters in a review?
Man, so this is what we want to do. We want to defend ourselves. We want to defend our employees. We want to defend our company, especially when we know that we've done right. And that's never going to get us anywhere. When we look defensive, we look guilty. When we look defensive, we look like we've done something wrong. And so one of the ways that we can avoid that defensive,ness but get into the heart of the issue, we need to do a little surgery. And our way of doing surgery is to validate that person's feelings. We don't validate their complaint. We don't validate their claim against us, but we validate their feelings. And we're going to get into that. A way to validate that is also introducing a pattern interrupter, which is what you mentioned there, Austin. So a pattern interrupter is a statement we can use that interrupts the pattern of, there's a couple of patterns we're going to break here. One, what they expect us to say and what others expect us to say, which is come in and defend ourselves or offer some canned copy and pasted response. And two, we want to interrupt the pattern of their own individual experience. They're upset. They're going to fire a shot across the bow and they're going to expect us to fire one back. And they're already thinking, ooh, I can't wait till they respond and I'm going to come back or heat. And so we're going to interrupt that pattern with something like, hey, Bob, I understand. Hey, Bob, I agree with you. Now, we're going to get into that here in a little bit. Right now, you're thinking, how in the world could I possibly agree with what Bob just said about my company? We're not going to agree with what Bob said about our company, but we must agree that if you saw it the way he did, you would also be upset. And then we get to go fix it. So we're going to get into that here in a little bit, but you definitely want to make sure that you use no defense and that you get good at using pattern interrupters. Another way of thinking about pattern interrupters is in call center management. We do a lot of training for call centers. And one of the things we coach them on is to use a pattern interrupter when it's the phone. Something like, it's a marvelous Monday at Bob's Electric. It's a bright Tuesday. How can we make you smile? Those things, although might feel cheesy, they certainly do interrupt the pattern because they're expecting to call this Chuck in a truck. And I'm sorry if anybody on here is named Chuck or you got anyone on your team named Chuck, but you know what I mean by Chuck in a truck. They expect it to be like, hello, what's up? What do you need? You interrupt that pattern. You do the same thing when you're responding to reviews. It's super powerful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think this is where, we'll talk about as we get throughout the rest of the webinar today, but the term that we use here at VitalStorm, agree, address, advance. We'll talk about this a little bit more as we get through the webinar today, but that's a great pattern interrupter as well. And so I'll save that for when it makes more sense. But if you guys want to write that down, agree, address, advance, that's a great term to take away from today's webinar. So
absolutely.
Going into topic 2, now let's focus on when you do make the mistake. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. The bad review is going to come in. So let's prepare ourselves for it. So even when you do make that mistake, there's always still that winning opportunity. That's really the whole goal and the topic of today's webinar is turn every single review, good or bad, into that winning opportunity. And really you do that by owning the mistake. And so Josh, what's in your point of view, how can you pull a winning opportunity out of a 1-star review that is just destroying really the business that you've built yourself?
This is tough. And we have an example of this here in a little while, but this is where we look in the mirror and we, like you said, own the mistake. We're not perfect. And the opportunity we have here is that we get to show all these people now for reading this review. Keep in mind, the damage is done. That review is there and it will be seen, and you not responding will not help it in any way. And so you must respond, but you don't want to fuel the fire and make it worse by how you respond. So we're in a hole. Let's dig ourselves out of this hole. And so the only way out of this hole is honesty. Now, here's the thing. I believe that most people are honest people and they run an honest business. And so you need to lean into that when you are dealing with the emotions of seeing this review. Oh my God, we made a mistake. How do we fix this review? I want this review gone, because we don't want to showcase our mistakes. And in fact, we are urged to sweep them under the rug, but we can't do that. So what do? We have to address it. And so if you can showcase your humanity and your care and your honesty, you can win in this review. We're going to show you an example of it here in a little bit, but Austin mentioned agree, address, advance. A little earlier, I mentioned the agree part. And so if Bob's Electric gets a review from a guy named John, and John says, your guys came out and they left a huge mess in my living room as they were walking through fixing whatever needed to be fixed, and they didn't clean it up. Now that's a mistake. I'm sure that your team is trained to not do that, but every once in a while something gets forgotten, and so there's no hiding it. That's a simple mistake that's easy to fix, but maybe there's even other mistakes where they didn't actually fix the problem right. You would be frustrated if that was you, if you were the homeowner. Yeah. So tell them that. And so a good response is, and again, we're going to get into some examples, but a good response is, you're right, John. If I felt like someone was careless in my home and they tracked mud into my living room, I would be just as upset as you seem to be now. You address the feelings. You validated this feeling. You didn't validate that your technician tracked mud through, because who knows if it even happened? Who knows how much mud it was, right? And when you say the mud was tracked through the house, it's going to seem like a tractor drove through there in people's minds, but it might just be like one footprint. You never know. And so we're not going to jump off right now and validate what their claim is. We are going to validate their concern. It cools their jets, and others who read this get these people do care. And now you move into the address part. And the address part is, let's talk about the situation. And so you're right, John. If I was the homeowner in this case, and someone was careless in my house and tracked mud into my carpet, I would also be upset. I'd be just as upset as you seem now. That's the agree. The address part is, it's our process that our technicians wear shoe coverings and that they put down floor protection when they work. And although there are those rare cases where our technicians do leave a mess behind, we want to address it. And then you move to the advanced part. So here's what we would like to do. I'd like to send one of our quality control experts out there to see the damage and 100% restore it back to its original state before our team got there. Does that sound reasonable? We agreed, we addressed, and we advanced. We owned the mistake. And when people read that, they don't think, oh man, no way, they tracked mud into a customer's home, I'm out. No, they get to read it now and say, oh, they tracked mud and they fixed it. So all my fears of any concern that I might have that they may, be a mess in my home, I feel comfort now. Also, in how we addressed it, we shared with them that little bit of what we call widening the gap. We created some separation between those companies that do track mud in homes and us, by saying, in the rare case that we might make a mess, here's how we fix it. And so those are some seeds that you plant along the way. That's how you own the mistake and make it a winning opportunity.
Yeah, and that's and owning the mistake and taking it one step further too, and that you're spinning that negative. By doing the right thing with confidence and poise, turning the situation around. And it just really sets you, the business owner, the business up for success for the time you're in, and then the future readers that are going to see that review as well. And so that leads perfectly into the last topic, spinning that negative, turning things around. We all want to turn the page on a bad review. We all want to get to the next good review, keep the business moving forward, keep winning business. And that's what this topic really focuses on. And so the first thing that we want to discuss today when talking about turning things around is future readers, and I know we've mentioned it a couple of times, but we want those future readers to remember how you responded and not the issue. And so you want them to remember the review itself, how you responded, and completely forget about why the review was even left, essentially.
That's so powerful, and it's worth repeating. Austin, you just said, we want the reader to remember how you responded to the review, not the review itself. It goes along with that old saying, people don't remember what you say, they remember how you make them feel. And that is so true. If you think back to the people who have impacted you in your life, you remember how they made you feel. We need to do the same thing here. It's possible to do. Now, you're probably thinking right now, geez, this seems like a lot of work. Well, it is review management. There does need to be someone on your team or an agency partner of yours that will focus on this for you. But we're putting together a sort of a formula for you here that you can learn yourself and be a pro at doing this. And so in order to turn it around and turn that page, like Austin said, we need to consider those future readers of those reviews and how they're going to feel about the situation they're privy to now that they read that review.
And I think you also want to close the loop on the reviewer themselves too. You don't want to just take care of the future readers. You also want to take care of the person leaving that review. So you want to close the loop and how to close the loop, and we'll kind of cover these next two subtopics together. You want to close the loop by setting up your team for success. Like you mentioned at the very beginning of the webinar today, if you go into somebody's office, or even if you came to me and said, hey, Austin, you're taking care of our reviews from now on, I'm not going to know necessarily what to do right away. And so you want to be able to set your team up for success with the right tools, the right equipment to be able to close that loop and help you guys succeed in review management.
That's exactly right. Closing the loop has power that you might not be aware of. Think about one of your customers, future customer, not your customer yet. They're thinking about using your service. They're thinking about calling Emily's Plumbing today. And before they do so, they're going to read your reviews. Let's say you have 100 reviews and 95 of those are good reviews, 5 stars, but only 5% of your reviews are 1 stars. Believe it or not, that's what's going to get attention. And if none of those are addressed, or they seem to be addressed only in some copy and paste kind of way, the loop is still open. So the feeling, the sense there when Bob is reading those reviews before they call Emily's Plumbing, Bob's going to think there's all these unresolved issues. But instead, when you address each one of them and you follow the agree, address, advance process, and you close the loop, there's a resolution visible in each of those. Remember that advanced part. So the advanced part is basically, here's what we're going to do now because of this situation. It shows that you're in control, you're in the driver's seat, you care, you won't leave it undone. And if something, in the rare case, and it seems like 5% of customers, 5 bad reviews, 5% of customers have a bad experience, they always come through and they resolve the issue, they close the loop. And so that's powerful, that's important. Now, what you mentioned there, Austin, about setting your team up for success, they need to know that they have the tools in their toolkit to address these reviews, handle them, just like we have GPS in our cars. So when you plug in an address and you go on a road trip, and for some reason you take a wrong turn, or maybe you pull off to get gas, or you go somewhere to eat, and now you're off course. What does your GPS do? It reroutes you back to the destination you want to go. So we know the experience we want our customers to have. And today we woke up and we found out there's a negative review, took us by surprise, right turn or left turn. Wasn't expecting that. Agree, address, advance in your review management process is the GPS you need to route yourself back to that good customer experience. Now, I share this from experience because we as an agency have also gotten negative reviews. Mm-hmm. I couldn't pull any reviews for examples for this webinar because every negative review we've gotten, we've addressed in a way that has either gotten that review changed or gotten that review taken down. And so either one of those, I'll take it, right? Now, if you go look now, we do have 3 negative reviews on there, and they're from customers that we can't find in our system. It's got to be a mistake, and we have reported those to Google, and we'll continue to report those to Google. And I recommend that you also report reviews to Google that seem fishy, that seem like competitors, that don't seem to be legit, because that's also a part of review management. We're not going into that too much today because we want to talk about the real hard, difficult stuff that brings us frustration. So when you equip your team with Agree, Address, Advance, you just put the GPS navigation system in them to know that any curveball I get, so I'm mixing metaphors now, any curveball I get, I can hit a home run because I know how to do it. That's extremely important. And you can set your team up for success and make this a fulfilling task for them. You should call them your PR manager and give them all the support that they need. and let them be proud of every single negative review they spin into a good review, whether it changes from a 1-star to a 3 or 4 or 5-star, or whether it gets deleted altogether, or it stays a 1-star, but there's a rock solid response that you're happy with. And you know that people will see it, and they'll see, because you know how it is. Sometimes you see someone's got 1,000 5-star reviews. You're thinking, that seems impossible. We need some of those negative reviews to live there so that it shows our authenticity. But we're going to respond to every single one of those reviews in a powerful way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thanks for all that info and content, Josh, on review management. I know it coming from a business owner, it can have a little bit more power behind it, because you're the one who's actually seeing these and dealing with these on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, whatever it is. So let's take a look at a couple examples now, and this might help close the loop on the webinar today, taking this information, actually applying it in real time. And so the first one that we'll look at today, is the customer left a 1-star review saying, proceed at your own risk. Shop around for a second or third opinion. They're definitely in it only for the money. Expect to be oversold and have unnecessary work done.
The original review stops there. That's where the original review stops. Can I jump in here real quick, Austin?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So that review, proceed at your own risk, shop around for a second or third opinion if possible. They are definitely only in it for the money. I think we should all understand that we're in business for money, but listen, they're upset. They're not thinking clearly. They're being unreasonable. We're going to kill this with reasonableness. It says, expect to be oversold for unnecessary work done. Now, Austin, could you jump back in and read the customer's response? We blocked out, we redacted names. We don't want to put anybody on the spot here. So fill in the blank with names, make up some names and go with it.
Yeah. So then the company, reached back out and said, good morning. My name is Austin. I'm the customer relations manager here at Bob's Electric. I hate to hear you feel this way. I'd really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you about this so I can address any concerns you have with our company. We'll always do whatever it takes to make it right. Give me a call at insert phone number, and I would be happy to help you. So,
okay, time out here.
Yeah.
This isn't a terrible response to most P standards, but it's not following agree, address, advance. It's being extremely polite, and it's being open to the possibility that we'll do something to make it right. But what's wrong with it, Austin? What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say it's clearly, it just like you said, it does the right things. It checks the right boxes on being nice and polite, but it is a canned response, and the guy called him out on it. I mean, you see it when he went in there to edit it. The first thing he says is, thanks for the canned response.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, just like what we've talked about in this whole webinar today. It doesn't do anything to validate their feelings, validate the concerns they're having. It's just really defending the company and how can we make it right. So, hey, thank you for the canned response. I've brought up my issue with customer relations manager. This particular customer relations manager does not seem invested in solving or remedying the issue. Currently, the customer relations manager does not
all
talk
these
to
quotes,
me
man,
unless I initiate the conversation. All of this just plays a role in solidifying how I really need legal representation when communicating with this company. Clearly, my voice as a customer is not important or being heard. Thank you.
All right, listen here. How much time has been invested in this review? This customer is so upset that they've come back again, and now they're talking about legal representation. A lot of times that's just tough talk, just a threat. But my goodness, what would be a better response? We prepared a response, didn't we, Austin?
We did. So a better response might look like, hi, Josh, you're right. I can see how if I was facing a repair cost, usually unexpected, validating their feelings, I might also want to shop around and find the best price for myself. And in our local community, there will be a wide range of prices. It's typically a smart idea to compare pricing, but it's also important to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. If you like, we can review any quote you get from other trusted, highly recommended providers and help ensure it's a proper comparison. If that's something you'd like our help with, let us know. And thank you for your feedback. We appreciate your honesty.
This right here is a great example of agree, address, advance. The agree piece is, Hi, Bob. You're right. I'm agreeing with your. That's a pattern interrupter there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. He just said I'm right. Whoa, whoa, whoa. They just said the customer's right. I can see how if I was facing a repair cost, usually unexpected, I might also want to shop around and find the best price. So I agreed with them that shopping around is important. You should do it. And
Yeah.
if I was all of a sudden interrupted with this unexpected expense, I might want to shop around. So I'm not telling that that's a bad thing, or her, or whoever this was. I'm also keeping it pretty soft. Notice we didn't come in and say, you're right. I could see how if I was you, I would also be upset. I would shop around. We use words like might, feel, would, because we don't, again, want to validate their actual claim. We want to validate their feelings. Why are they claiming what they're claiming? Let's just go straight to the heart. That's the agree part. Before we go on to the address part, Austin, did you have anything you want to say about the agree part?
No, we're good there.
Okay, I thought I heard you pipe up. So interrupt me anytime, man. So that's the agree part. The address part is we're gonna address the fact that they're saying we're only in it for money and insinuating that we're overpriced. So in our local community, there will be a wide range of prices. We're not going to claim to be the cheapest. There's a wide range, which means there's going to be some cheap guys out there, and there's going to be some expensive guys out there, and there's going to be some good guys somewhere in the middle. In our community, there's a wide range of prices. It's typically a smart idea to compare pricing, but it's also important to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Now, this is where I'm addressing the fact that the services we provide might not be as good or to the same standard and quality as some of the other ones. So make sure that you're not comparing apples to oranges. It is apples to apples. And we are a background check, drug tested, expert, trained, certified, insured, bonded. There's a lot that goes into Emily's plumbing or Alex's electric, or Heather's HVAC. Those are expenses that you've got to recoup in your revenue, and you compensate for that by the value you provide. You need to address that, right? If you like, we can review. This is the advanced part. We're not just leaving the customer in their state of being upset. Let's move on. How can we make this better? If you like, we review any quote you get from another trusted or highly recommended service provider and help ensure it's a proper comparison. We are taking the high ground, and we're letting them know that we're the experts here, and we'll help you make sure that you're being quoted the right price. And then it says, and if that's something you'd like help with, please let us know. And thank you for your feedback. We appreciate your honesty. That closes the loop, lets them know we're not ashamed of what you just said, and we're open to anything else you might want to share about us. And we even appreciate that you took the time to do so. That exudes confidence, and it exudes care. If this client or this electrician or plumber, whoever it was, would have responded with a response like that, I know they wouldn't have gotten that updated review. Thank you for your canned response and all that talk about a lawyer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And maybe in the event would have changed that 1-star review. So, a lot there, a lot to take away from this one. I think it's a perfect example on how to agree, address, advance. We just have a couple of minutes left. So let's take a look at another bad review, because it's a completely different spin than this one here. And then we'll look at a good review before we wrap up today. So this one is another 1-star review. Do not use this moving company. Very unprofessional from the moving crew all the way up to the chain, to the owner. And so maybe this person talked to the crew, talked to the owner, must have had a bad experience across the board. They showed up over an hour late with a man and a woman that were not capable of carrying our heavy furniture. I ordered 3 people, only got 2. So already started off on the wrong foot there. Every piece they carried hit a wall, or they struggled to go up the stairs. The woman wasn't listed on the website as one of the employees, which maybe doesn't necessarily matter here, but it validates the feelings of, and they were wearing a different company's t-shirts. So maybe this luxury moving company that this client had hired, maybe is using subcontracting crews. So maybe that should also be told to the clients up front, but maybe it wasn't. They walked off the job and then tried to come back as if we wanted to invite them back. I called 5 times to get the owner on the phone after I was tired of them hitting walls, and the owner kept interrupting me on the phone and didn't seem to care about the issues we were having. The woman cussed out my fiance inside the house, and that was the last straw. Don't use these people if you care about your furniture and the inside of your house. So a lot of high feelings I think we can see there. Obviously probably brand new house, brand new furniture, or maybe not brand new house, but brand new to the people. And so a lot of feelings. And you want to start off on the right foot. So we all know the tensions of closing on a house and moving in and all those things. So I'm sure this maybe was written with high feelings. But
Absolutely
the response did not help one bit. And I think it made it even worse. So
there's a lot of bold claims in there too. Now, if they really cursed them out and they really did all these things, that's terrible. But we all know we've gotten reviews or we've seen reviews like this and thought that does not sound like my team in the least bit. And so, like you said, Austin, charged with emotion. Who knows what was done, what was said, but the damage is done. We've got to address it. We've got to address it.
Yeah, and I think if we'll show the better response here in a second, but this one basically just argues back with the client and says, and flips the script, says, no, you did those things and you did that. Josh, I can't believe you're posting a review after I don't even know what that word is. That's too big for my brain.
Misogynistic.
On the phone the other day. Unprofessional is correct, because as the owner, I will not tolerate 3 people cussing out my crew or belittling them because we have a woman as a mover. For the record, she'll outwork you any day. You guys blew up on the phone because she scuffed your wall, which she removed by rubbing it with a cloth towel, which I've tried to remove scuffs with a towel. It never really works, but that crew has been with us since the beginning, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let someone treat them inhumanely because they try to pick up side work for themselves to feed their family. Excuse them for not being privileged like yourself. Good day, sir. So,
man, like coming in hot, I know, defending your honor, but my goodness. First things first is anyone that reads the customer's review is going to believe it. And then you go and you read the response from the owner and you think, wow, what a jerk.
And it validates it,
It validates it. None of us were there to see that maybe it was flipped the other way around, that the moving company was being berated and being treated unreasonably. And so we got to address it as it is. It's out there in the public. So what's a better response, Austin?
So a little longer than the last one, but there's a lot to pull from this one, like we said. Hi, Josh, completely understand. And I can see how if I was in your position, took valuable time off of work to wait for a mover to arrive, I could see how I might be upset if I felt I was waiting too long for them to arrive. And if I was expecting 3 movers, but only 2 arrived, I could see how I might feel something was missing there. And finally, if there were scuffs left behind, I could see how that would make me feel as if great care wasn't taken. So validating on all 3 of the pain points that the customer was having there. And this is exactly why we commit to simple things. 1, we commit to arriving within the given window. And in the rare event we weren't able to, we discount the move by $100. 2, we commit to performing the move within the estimated time and even send out extra help when we feel that it's not possible. 3, we commit to leaving your space just as we found it. In the rare event damage is caused, we immediately schedule our repair crew to make it right. I want to apologize that your experience was not the 5-star experience our customers are accustomed to. For that, we'd like to offer you another discount because we simply can't live with the customer not loving our service. That simply won't reflect the 25 years of hard work we've put into building the best and most convenient luxury service in Dallas. Can we connect and deliver on this discount as well as inspect again any damage that may have been caused while our team was handling your precious cargo?
So it doesn't matter who was right, who was wrong. This response comes in and shows the reviewer themselves and everyone who's going to read it later that these people care. And there's seeds planted all in there about the 5-star experience our customers are accustomed to. We couldn't build this name for 25 years and do things like this. We couldn't live with the thought of knowing someone out there just didn't absolutely love our service. We agreed with them. I understand. I completely understand. If I was in your shoes, I might feel the same way. Then I go into the address part. Here's our commitments we typically make. Boom, boom, boom. And those commitments happen to address every single issue that they brought up. Then we go into the advanced part. We'd like to offer you an additional discount. And we'd like to send someone out to inspect the damage and have it repaired right away while we're handling your precious cargo. And we use terms like that. So they're terms of endearment that know that we do care and we're not backpedaling. We're not defending ourselves. We're not scared of this review. We're actually thankful that we've gotten this review, and we want to make this right for you so that you feel that you got the value you deserve.
Yeah. And I think even honestly, 9 out of 10 times, the client probably isn't even going to take you up on this offer. They're going to read it, might diffuse the situation, or they might still be upset, say, forget it, and move on with their day. And so it's taking care of those future readers. You can't even imagine how many customers this company might lose because of this response there. And so it's another
killing
one
it, reasonableness. Killing it with reasonableness.
And taking care of those future readers. So
right.
That's 2 bad responses. I know we're a couple minutes over, so I appreciate you guys hanging on with us. I think this is all great stuff here. Let's look at one good review and a good response, and then we'll wrap things up today. So this good positive review actually comes from our profile and our Google My Business, because it's using the agree, address, advanced tactics that we've been talking about. And so we had a client of ours leave a review. I've been working with VitalStorm for a number of years, always responsive, timely, and professional in all communication. I've trusted them with a great deal of our company's marketing, and they've always delivered. They're committed to the success of their customers and make sure the relationship is a success. Now, before we jump to the owner, we don't share this one because we want you guys to hear about how great we are, how much our clients love us. It's just using those tactics. So Josh, you wrote this response. I'll let you read the response, why you wrote it, how you wrote it. And then so I'll turn things over to you.
So all the focus goes on these negative reviews, but you should also manage the good reviews. Don't waste a good opportunity. And so when you get a good review, you should try to pull on that as much as you can and pull out those pieces that they put in there and magnify them. So we should use agree, address, advance here too. So Jason, longtime client, been a client about 10 years. Actually, Jason comes from my previous life, so he's been a client even longer than we've been an agency. And so here's how we responded. Jason, thank you for the many years of partnership. Oh, we've got to lean into what he said about us being a customer or a vendor of his for years. Well, we're gonna double down on that and call it the partnership that it truly is. And then we want to widen the gap here. Most companies only partner with their digital agency or digital marketing agency on an average of 3 years. And you've been there for much longer, right? And together we have far exceeded that multiple times over. We're leaning into the things he said. So we're agreeing with him. And this time we get to agree that, yeah, we are awesome. So agree to their claims, agree to feelings, agree to everything. That's a little bit different than the negative part. We never agree to their claims. We just agree to their feelings. But in this case, agree to it all. You want it to be dripping with compliments, right? And then we're going to address it. Most companies don't stick around more than 3 years. We've exceeded that multiple times with you, and we're thanking him for it, kind of like a humble, right? Like, thank you for trusting us to be so awesome for you.
Absolutely.
And then that is almost a testament of your, wait, sorry. Let me restate that. This is also a testament of your operation and how outstanding you guys are. And so we're just returning the favor and letting him know that we appreciate him, but also letting all these other future readers of this review know that we value our partnerships and our relationships, and we have a pleasant experience with them. And then we finish it with this. Thank you for your kind feedback. We appreciate the trust that you put in, that you and the Powell Electric team have placed in VitalStorm. So we close the loop, and the address is a little bit soft here, or the advance is a little bit soft here in that we're going to continue on in this relationship. Now, when we do this for the negative reviews, we got to have a bit of a harder advance, so we know that the loop has been closed. We get a little bit of freedom when it's a good review, but never let a good opportunity go to waste. Respond to those good reviews with just as much attention and care as bad reviews, and never, ever, ever copy and paste reviews. Never.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So, great info, Josh, and I'm glad we actually had this review to kind of close the loop on the webinar today to show the agree, address, advance on the negative side and the positive side to close that loop for those future readers. So I know we're over time. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us today, hearing how to take the frustration out of the review game. And so I'm going to throw our info up here on the screen. My info, email, phone number, our website, all on the screen here. So take a screenshot of this if you'd like, or it'll also be in the recording and the recap email that we are going to send out in the next day or two. So you'll receive that in your inbox with the recording here. But again, thank you guys for jumping on. We appreciate you guys coming to us and allowing us to share our insights with you. And so again, a quick recap of the conversation day. Understand the review game. When you do make a mistake, turn it into that winning opportunity, and then turn the situation around, spin the negative, and set yourself up for success with future readers. Set your team up for success on responding to those reviews, and ultimately take that frustration out of the review management game. So we'll hang around for a couple more minutes. Josh, thanks for being on here with me today. Again, thank you guys for jumping on with us. We'll hang out for a few minutes for Q&A, and always feel free to reach out to us if you don't have the question right now as well. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you guys. And awesome, great job leading the webinar today.
Thank you.
I hope some people stick around for Q&A.
We've got one. So do you recommend responding to old reviews?
This is a great question. I think with anything in life, there are the nuances, and we have to know how to apply each nuance. In general, I say we should respond to all reviews, even old ones. Now, if you seem to have a bunch of old reviews from years and years ago, I would maybe respond to a couple of them and see if that gets you any of the bad responses that I think you're fearful of. I would say on the other side of that question is, if I respond to an old review, will it just stir the pot again? Potentially. Right. That's why we should take great care to respond quickly now. But I get it. We have those sins of the past, and we have those reviews that we left unanswered and neglected.
Yeah.
I would recommend going back and answering as many as you could, going as far back as you can. But maybe you do so here and there at first to see how your responses are being received, especially as you're getting used to this new technique and strategy. But I'll answer that question. In general, yes, go back to old reviews, but more specifically, maybe you take it one at a time, especially if it's more than a couple years old.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great question.
Yeah, and we can even relate to that. That one, we had a 1-star review where we got a 1-star review because me and the sales team emailed somebody too much, and obviously that's our job, but people get upset about it sometimes. And I'm okay with that. It just, it happens, but we got a 1-star review, and that, kind of stinks to get a 1-star review for that. But hey, you reached out maybe a year or two later, and now it's a 5-star review. The way it was handled, he appreciated it. Now we have a 5-star that came from a 1-star. So, perfect scenario for that question there.
Absolutely. Hey, another one.
Let's see here. How do you respond to people with bogus or just plain false claims, or that you've already tried to work with or resolve the issue?
Another brilliant question. So here's the thing. If you remember in our responses before, especially with the mover, a lot of that I'm sure was bogus. But we moved forward with what we would do to make things right anyway. And so if someone's trashing us and saying we did all these terrible things, in our address piece, let's talk about how we do the right thing. And even though sometimes we make mistakes, here's how we address those mistakes. And so sometimes you're going to address every single claim. Like, we didn't address the cursing in our response because honestly, there were so many claims in there, and some of them would be tough to address, and sort of in some ways they don't deserve our response because they're
Right.
so unreasonable. And so we're just going to kill it with reasonableness. So if someone's saying you stole some jewelry out of their house, your technicians were there, that's a wild, crazy claim. And so you could talk about the trustworthiness, but in something very specific like that, maybe throw in there, if you would like to discuss this further, I would like to address this with you one-on-one and talk about that jewelry or whatever it might be. So you do have to handle it with care. But like I said in the last question, there are these nuances to everything. But generally, if I could answer it generally, I would say that you just need to move forward with agree, address, advance. And if the claim is bold and false and it's just radical, then practice widening the gap. And there are those experiences out there like this, but we typically have these experiences way over here. And so I'm going to widen the gap and talk about those 5 experiences that our customers are accustomed to. You remember me saying that in that review response to the moving company. And so, great question. I think you do need to address it, but you need to kill it with reasonableness. There is some, I received a review on our Glassdoor once saying that from an employee that we had let go. And keep in mind, you also need to use this same strategy on Glassdoor, but they were claiming that I would throw things around the office and scream. That's not true. Is it, Austin? I mean, I don't throw things and scream.
No,
and
just to me.
Just to you. And it was so outrageous, and it ruined my week. I was just stewing over it. I was like, oh my goodness. And I knew how to answer. I knew how to do it, but it was just such a bold claim and such an outrageous claim that it really impacted me and really affected me. And so I really thought through, how am I going to address this? And so what I talked about was, I can't just come in defensive and say, I don't do things like that, because then I'm being defensive. And I think my response was something like, there are times at work where emotions can get high. And although we strive to be our best, even in those moments, because those are opportunities for us to shine, we know that there are times that our anger or our emotions can get the best of us. Although I don't clearly recall moments where I may have thrown things or screamed at anyone, that certainly seems outside of the nature of anyone on our team. Notice I didn't say about me, about anyone on our team. We do apologize that you had an experience where you felt like it wasn't a comfortable place. Then I addressed the comfort of our place. It's one of our utmost missions in our company culture to ensure that our people have a safe, comfortable, and fun place to do their work. Yeah. The damage is done. The review's there. You got to address it. Never defending yourself, but killing it with reasonableness.
All right, Josh. Well, I think we'll wrap it up today. If you are typing a question and I'm cutting you off, send the question to us. We'd be happy to answer it and have another conversation with you guys. So again, appreciate you guys jumping on with us. We look forward to the next webinar. We do these monthly, so watch out for the emails, watch out for the invites. We'd love to have you guys back. And we will talk to you guys next month. Thanks again.
Thank you.